Today we have a first, and I'm exciting. I'm actually excited about something for a change. It's a diesel heater. Well, no, it's not a diesel heater, although that will be the title. And yes, it's supposed to say that way. So it's a heater, but it's not diesel powered. It's gasoline for you Americans, or petrol here in the UK. Gasoline, an actual gasoline fired heater. Not just like the one I tried to DIY. This one's actually been designed to run on gasoline. It is a Velit 4000P. Now, Velit did contact me to send me the heater, obviously. And Velit is, as it says on the website, a group of engineers who enjoy van life and join together with the sole goal to build what our community truly needs. They are based in America, but they have warehouses in the US, the UK, and they ship to Canada and Australia. So you can get these heaters in the UK, which is handy. Right, go away phone. Go. We will need you later, but not yet. So, as I said, obviously the title of this video is going to be a gasoline petrol fired diesel heater, because that's what people will search for in YouTube. I know semantically it is wrong, because it can't be both gasoline and diesel, but people are calling them diesel heaters no matter what they run on. So this one runs on petrol. Slightly more dangerous than diesel, granted. Go on. But a lot of things, especially in America land, are petrol-based vehicles. And here we have it. Velit, a 4 kilowatt. I know it says gasoline diesel, but this is the gasoline version. It says on the outside of the box, gasoline. And I'm looking forward to running it, and then we shall take it apart. I'm not doing it in the other order. The unit cannot be installed sideways, meaning the fuel port must face the ground. And still, that's interesting. Perhaps it's because it's a gasoline variety that it cannot run on its sides, unlike the diesel ones, which will run on their side. Oh, this is nice. Excellent. Right. Let's have a look, see what we've got. Well, that's interesting. The first thing is the wiring loom. I couldn't find the word. The wiring loom there is not on a multi-plug. It is attached directly to the heater body itself. Interesting. Right. I will need a pair of snips. Well, no, let's take it out of this thing first. Hey! Come on! Oh, here we go. Right, we'll take this, and we'll take this box, and then the rest of the box can go on the floor. Come on. You go there. You go away, box. Smashing. Literally smashing. So there's nothing out of the ordinary looking from the outside of the heater itself. Obviously. It's probably moulded on the same as the diesel heater. Oh, I'm going to have a quick look inside. I've got to have a quick look before we go any further. Ooh! Wait, how much of this can you see? Not a lot. Right, I'll bring you down. Hold on. Just stay. No, don't roll over. So first things, I don't know, it might not be a glow plug. I don't want to take it apart just yet, but the thing that I have noticed, right, that's what's rotting about inside, is one of the thermal feet from the case, but that's okay. That's just supposed to be jammed up in there. We will jam it back up in there in a moment. We have got 3 wires leading up to the temperature sensor, the body temperature sensor. That means we are sensing body temperature, and there's a top one that is sensing the air temperature being blown over it. That is nice. That means they're doing some monitoring in there. And they look like nice plugs going into the ECU, like the proper waterproof ones, but we will see them when we take it apart. Oh, actual balancing things on the fan, so it's already balanced. Oh, I'm liking this more the more we go. But no, stop, look tight. Because we don't want to take it apart yet. I want to run it first. First job is a test run. I will have to set it up on the test rig and then not use the diesel that's in the test rig. I'll have to use its own separate fuel supply. Oh, I'm very curious to see this running. So we're going to do acoustic analysis of how loud it is. We are going to do a gas analyzer with the TPI, and we'll probably fire the thermal imaging at it for a look as well. Let's just see what's in the box of accessories. Hopefully a fuel pump would be nice in here. This will answer my question. If the fuel pump for the fuel, the petrol / gasoline, if it's the same fuel pump as they use for diesel. Right, exhaust, we have the nice flexible kind. This one's actually got a nice end cap on the end, so you don't slice your fingers off. And the other just, well, sharp end where they've cut off a long piece. That's fine. We've got a bit of ducting, you know, just your end of ducting pipe. Sorry, the ducting's in here. Bit of ducting vent. We've got our air intake pipe. We have the nice nylon fuel line, the hard plastic kind. Does it have? I always like to read the temperature ratings. Rated down to -35 and up to 120 degrees Celsius. I have no idea what that is in Frankenstein units. Where is the fuel pump? Is this it? This is the fuel pump. It is in its own little box. And it looks remarkably similar to every other diesel fuel pump I've ever seen. It says 65 12 volts on it, so I'm presuming it's a 65 milliliter pulse. And these ones you can, well, the one I've had before that had bits on it, you can disassemble it and there's a small filter element inside here. I won't disassemble this one just yet because we haven't run it yet. This is a standpipe for going into fuel tanks. I had someone comment in another video what the bendy bit of metal pipe I had was. You would put that into your fuel tank and then you can just attach your fuel line straight on that if you don't want to drill holes in your own tank. There is the air intake. I was going to say silencer, but that one's just a filter element. That one's just got a filter mesh to stop mice, etc. living inside your air intake. I've got a steel base plate for mounting the heater onto. Variety of Jubilee clips. We have the rubber mounting seal that goes on the base plate on the bottom there, and some cable ties, fixings and screws and studs for going into the bottom of the heater, because sometimes, well, some folk like studs and nuts, and some folk like bolts, so you can use them like an M8 or an M6, so you can bolt them in yourself either way. We have the fuel filter and fuel pipe, and ooh, they've included one of them. That is a actual fuel connectors. Because in some of the vans, you can get T-pieces, or they actually have a port on them already where you can just put your fuel connection on the end of it, and that gives you your feed straight from the tank. I don't know what kind or what make these are, but that's good. That's nice. That really is designed for van life. And pre-bit cuts of fuel pipe. That's for joining onto your nylon stuff, so you can join it onto the fuel pump, etc., etc. And here we have the controller. It does not appear to be anything fancy as such. Not fancy, you know what I mean, but unnecessarily overly complicated or what. And it's nice. And it's their own heater, controller. It's not just a ubiquitous diesel heater controller. It's different. It's something different. Well, it also has a 4-pin plug in it. So if anyone wants to know if it's compatible with the afterburner, the answer is most likely no, because it's already got 4 wires and not 3. Right, so that's everything in the accessories box. Hell, it's disassembly time. Let's pull the main fuse. That's that powered off. And I've already taken the end cap off because I was so eager to get started. Let's get in and have a look. Yes, let's take it out of its box. I'm sorry, I'm blocking some of the shot, but do not panic. Hold on, still, what's that? Kinda, nope, nope. Let's lie it down, David. Lie it down. Let us move my pistons out of the way. Inside the box looks fairly standard. Sadly, the green rubber heat insulating bits have fallen off the two top portions. I think you can just jam them back in. If I ever find the other one. No, there is. I have found it. I will jam them back in later on. That bit is not exciting just now. This bit is. I can already see this ECU differs somewhat from standard. Right. Buy still. Thank you. What size is that? A 4? Is it a 4? Oh, yes. So unscrew you. Pop the ECU off. Right, these are the plugs I was talking about. The nice waterproof, you know, they've got a gland on them. I'm actually waterproof. So we've got a DC out to the motor. We've got... Oh, there's a ground. There's a one of the plugs that's like... One of these 3 wires up here will be for the air temperature sensor, and it's using the chassis of the heater as a ground. And the other one is for the body temperature sensor. And then, I see now, instead of having a plug on the outside of the unit, the plug is straight into the ECU. So you can unplug it if you want to do it that way. And then this takes the whole ECU apart. And I'm going to open that as well because we're here and because it would be very rude not to have a look inside. Right. Here is the inside of the little ECU. You know the one thing I'm not noticing? Oh, there is there. I tell a lie. Where are the magnets? It's got 2 magnets, and I don't know if you can see just there is the rotational speed sensor for the magnets. I thought it didn't have one for a moment there, but there it is. I'm not going to show you the other, that's a lie. I'm going to show you the other side of the board because we're here. If you didn't want me to show the other side of the board, you shouldn't send me the heater. I mean, it's not like you couldn't buy one and take it apart yourself if you wanted to see the back of the board. Right. And the other side of the board is the big long pins for connecting onto the plugs. That is a giant diode, an inductor or an antenna. Well, it doesn't have a remote control, so some sort of inductor. A couple of capacitors, a brain box. I cannot zoom the most in, although it should switch to macro. Macro? Macro? Nope, no macro. Okay, that's definitely a very different style board to what I've seen before. Let's try and get all the pins back in the pinholes. Did we? Was it successful? Clicks back in place. Nice, good, okay. Right, that was the inside of the ECU box. I'm about to put that on backwards. You sure are. Lovely, okay. Now, let's get inside the heater itself. These 4s or 5s? No, that's a 4. Must have been a 3 I was using earlier. Right, we'll undo this. We'll take the blower assembly off first, and then we'll see what the glow plug looks like, and if I need my glow plug removal tool. I mean, so far at the moment, this just looks like a fairly typical casting, which would make sense. You wouldn't go ahead and redesign a whole thing. You would just use the ones that are available, because there are many of them. They are plentiful. They are cheap. Please, someone remind me that that ground has to go back there on the body. Please. Right, and hopefully with it being still slightly warm. We'll be able to get it off without all the gaskets having welded to each other. Hopefully. I really want to see what the burn chamber looks like. I really hope it's different for gasoline. I'm hoping there's like more holes or less holes or something different, just something. Right. Go. Ooh, it is different. I'm not going to spoil the surprise just yet. Hold on. I'm just going to show you the burny bit. Is that broken, or is that actually someone done that to balance it? I don't think it's broken because it's not in there. Someone must have done it to balance it. I wonder if it does line up with the two balancing bits at the end. Maybe it was broken, but someone has balanced it out, so it won't matter. Anyway, it is just a 12-volt DC motor. Nothing exciting there. Now, unlike in here, look at that. That is very different to what we're used to. That is different. That does have a completely different glow plug arrangement assembly in there. Right. How best to get this out? That. Am I going to have to poke the wires down the way, or do we unscrew this bit? I'm going to be able to get this gasket off without tearing it. Please. This is why you always should have spare gaskets ready for any disassembly, because you're probably going to tear it. 9 times out of 10, you're going to tear it. I can feel me getting frustrated, and I'm going to tear it. And I'm trying not to. Whew! Got the gasket out intact. We're in uncharted territory here. So I'm going to try taking this bit off. Because I'm wondering if this bit comes out separately as the glow plug. 2 Phillips screws. 2 Phillips screws. Does that let this bit come off? Yes. Okay. Right. So if I take the grommet out, he said, I push the grommet out. Ow. Some of these smart metal edges are quite sharp. Alright. Push the grommet out and take that wire at the end. And does that let this assembly... Does it come out? Yes. Okay. Let's remove that. Oh, the burn chamber is different. Oh, it's got a... Not rubber. The mesh. Wire mesh. Like a stainless mesh in the bottom of it. Now, to remove the said glow plug, it appears to have a screw and a ball bearing. Is that how it does it? Yes, it is. Right. So, what's the smallest Allen key I've got? Please don't be the 1.5 that's missing. Please be this one. Thank you. Right. If I take this out, that should let the ball bearing in there move, and the glow plug comes out. Right, and I'll put that. So, little teeny tiny hex head here on a screw that pushes this ball bearing. And it just pushes the ball bearing against the glow plug to keep it in place. So when you unscrew that, slacken off a little bit, that lets the ball bearing move. And then that lets you remove the glow plug from the heater. And it just looks like, it looks very similar to the Webasto, or is it Airburst Bagger? I think it's Webasto ones. They don't have any fittings or nuts on them, it's just a straight glow plug. Right, and to this part of the burn chamber. It's got lots of additional holes around the outside. That's the glow plug hole. And then inside, down the bottom, there is a stainless mesh and a couple of fins for directing air roundabout. It is very Webasto, that one. Sure, this is a Webasto style of gasoline burn chamber. Right, what else have we got in here? The rest of the burn chamber. Oh man. They're tight. I'm going to need... How tight are they, David? Not that tight. You're just being a weakling. Oh, that was pretty tight. Not going to lie. Can I use my cheater pipe? Yes. Right, and that should let me take out the rest of the interior. That bit looks like standard diesel bit, but it's got a reducer section about halfway down. It's also quite carbony. It probably could have done with me running it a lot longer, but inside it's just a standard diesel heater body heat exchanger. Although, now that I've said it, those fins on the inside, they seem really quite thick. Like a really heavy fin. Chad, do I have another one lying on the bench? No, I think I tied them all away. I don't remember them being that thick, but perhaps it is just my memory playing tricks on me. As I say, it's quite black, but that's probably because of my starting attempts and it not firing. If I just let it run a good bit longer and hotter, it would eventually hit up enough that it would have cleaned itself off. While I've got the housing in my hand, I might as well show you the temperature. Well, the body sensor come hot air temperature. You see under the spring clip, there's another temperature sensor on the top. So you've got one on the top, and the white one has another one on the base underneath, actually reading the temperature of the heat exchanger. But no, well, it's nice. It's a well-made unit. That's very interesting. It's our first petrol one. This is a strange creature. So then that goes back into there, like that. So we've got our air being forced. Would it be forced? How hard against the... Not very hard. So you've got some air being directed straight down through the things, and the swirl of some of it will getting forced in again in that way. And then your gasoline, in through this feed pipe, and it bleeds basically right into the mesh on the back. Well, we can't really see it anymore, and then it will wick through the mesh and burn. There's also there's like a hole in the mesh. Probably for if the mesh is ever fully clogged, the fuel will still continue to flow out to some extent. And then our reducer, which matches the holes in the side. Get back out. Yeah, so this bit slots right up against, basically till it hits that reducer part, and then there's holes at the side, and there's a slight gap in the side. It's not a flush fit. There's a very slight gap around the side, which obviously can be more combustion gases being burnt. And then the fire at the end, and then that's react with the heat exchanger to transfer the heat into the walls of the heater, and then the waste heat exhaust goes out the outside. Yes, that is very carbony. We will have to give it a bigger, longer run once it's reassembled. Right, I'm going to put it back together, and then we'll get some final thoughts. Well, it's back together, and it is starting this time, now that I've plugged the fuel pump back in. Error 07, by the way, is not remembering to plug your fuel pump in. Also, when you take the rubber grommet off of the glow plug, that gives you enough space to actually be able to poke your Allen key down the hole, and you can actually undo the glow plug from that. You don't have to take the whole burner assembly apart to get the glow plug out, which is nice. Yeah, so as we see, There's instructions for all the doings. Not a lot of instructions. I mean, it's not an overly complicated controller. As it says, you can't mount it sideways, and now we've seen the inside of it. That makes sense, because the fuel pipe needs to be level, because it's going into a mesh. If you were to go probably on its side, it would run out. Hey, he's doing it. Right, okay. There's installation of fuel supply, and the filter, and the standpipe. Nothing exciting there. All pretty much standard. Installation of electrical components, blah 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 blah, etc etc. Basically the basic operation. As I said, there's an elevation display. Currently showing 500 feet here. I don't know if that's right, it might be right. And it should adjust the fueling automatically. That's its thing, is it will adjust the fueling depending on elevation. You know, you pull the fuel back depending on how high up you go. Starting heater is pressed and holding the big knobby dialy bit for 2 seconds to start it. There's 2 running modes. Temperature mode, where you pick your temperature and it attempts to speed up and slow down to stay in that temperature. But it also, if you have it in that mode, as it says, if the ambient temperature is 6 degrees higher than the set temperature, the heater will automatically enter standby mode as it'll turn off. At standby mode, the fan icon does not turn and the display shows set temperature reached. Once the temperature is 60 degrees lower than the set temperature, the heater will start back up again. Power mode is just your fixed power mode between your 5 power levels, minimum and maximum. And auto run is just having it start at a specified time, and you can set the time on the next screen, and you can specify how long it runs for in that. It also has a thing to maximise the lifespan of the unit. The maximum continuous run time is 48 hours. So once 48 hours is reached, the unit will power cycle and continue operation. So every 48 hours it restarts itself. Okay. Well, there we go. It's starting, letting us running, and is away again. That's good. My reassembly skills have greatly improved. Okay, I was getting ready to give my outro and I started fiddling about with the controller box, and I was just poking about in the back of it, and this purple wire kind of fell out. Now I don't see anywhere where it attaches to, and the controller still works. So I think this might still be a 3-wire controller. It's just happens to be using a 4-wire plug. Like, I can't see anywhere where it was attached to. There's no points missing. There's nowhere nearby that it should be attached to. There's no. I think it's just a bare wire. They're just using a 4-wire plug rather than a 3-wire plug. Anyway, I just thought it was interesting, and well, there's the little teeny tiny screen. I don't know if I put the fuse back in, it'll. Did it go? Still works. Still twiddle the knob and press the button. It goes through the modes. Stuff still works. So don't know what that wire's for. I don't know. I have also noticed that my little display is ever so slightly squint. It's not quite square. Very nearly square, but not quite square, and I'm too afraid to touch it to try and fix it. So we'll just put it back together as is. As I say, that purple wire was just kind of poked in there. It doesn't appear to have any purpose. It's just poked in the hole. Like that. I was just fiddling about with it and it poked out. And the button in the front, thankfully, just pushes into place. Just an interference fit. Just squodges on. Oh no! Did I press it for 2 seconds there? Don't start! Don't start! No, not yet. I'm not ready yet. What are my final thoughts on the Velit? Is it Velit or Velit? Velit. 4 kilowatt gasoline petrol heater. Well, it's the very first petrol heater we have ever had. And it works. It burns petrol. It turns petrol into heat. What more can I say? It's got a nice, simple, easy to use controller. Perhaps a little bit basic on the old functionality. Some people enjoy a Bluetooth app to control it. Perhaps even a remote control. But it doesn't have one, so there you go. So what are you going to do? I don't know if I wasn't supposed to have a silencer in my kit, or if it was just missing, or something, or had been forgotten to be included, but adding the silencer always makes it quieter. And it gave heat output, the carbon monoxide, I don't know, it was okay, I suppose, yeah. I don't know, it's a petrol heater. Anyone who has experience in such things, please comments down below. What's a good carbon monoxide reading for the old petrol gasoline burners? It's well made, fans balanced, it's got air temperature sensor as well as body temperature sensor. It's got the nice plugs. It's a well put together here. And as I say, as the website says, they've got US, UK warehouses, and they'll ship to Canada and Australia. So that's basically, you've covered most of the planet that's going to be buying. I'm going to call it I keep wanting to call it a petrol diesel here. And I know that sounds really, really daft. But that's what people are going to search for, and that's what people are going to Google it as and look for. It's a petrol diesel here. Yes. Yes, it is. And when they say that, have you had any experience with petrol diesel heaters? I'll just say yes and not bother correcting them, because why bother? Life's too short. Any comments, questions, anything like that, please leave them down below. I'll try my very best to answer them, and I'll leave this set up here at least for a little while, just in case there's any more further videos I can make on people's questions. Yeah, that covers it. Thanks for watching.